Welcome to the video tutorial on how to use the palette swap shader for Unity Universal Render Pipeline. If you are finding this video without downloading the asset, you can find a link to get it for free in the description. Let us begin with the steps needed to utilize the asset. First, ensure that you are in a Universal Render Pipeline project or the shader will not compile properly. With that out of the way, let's start with the process of creating a new palette swap material. I highly recommend Sprite for sprite work, but any image editing software will work for our needs. Each palette is a 1 pixel tall image where each pixel in the width of the image represents one color of your palette. Here is an example of a palette that I have created from a character sprite. Here is the original, and here is the replacement. The shader supports palettes that are up to 1024 pixels wide, but you should utilize the shader that most accurately fits your needs to avoid any unnecessary performance impacts. For the purposes of this tutorial, we will be utilizing the 8-bit shader since our character has 8 different colors in their palette. If your character doesn't match the exact number on the shader, you can use the next largest shader. For example, if your sprite only has 12 colors, you should use the 16-bit shader. The shader will still work if you use palettes that are not the correct sizes, but you may get unintended results. Here is an example of what a palette might look like when not utilizing the full palette size. You'll notice that there are many pink pixels at the end. I utilized this color because it is not present in the original version of the palette, which is this tree, and therefore no pixels will be replaced. Now that we have our palettes created, we can begin the next step. For this step, we will be creating a new material to utilize for our sprite. Start by navigating to your project folder window and then selecting the appropriate folder for your material. Select Create Material, and now that we have our material, we'll just name it Night Example. Now that we have our material created, make sure we have it selected and then look at our inspector window, and here we will see the shader drop down menu. Select this, navigate to a palette swap. It may be in a slightly different place if you have other shaders installed in your project, and then select the correct bit ratio. So we're going to select 8-bit for our needs. Now that we have that, we need to navigate to the original field here and select that and input our original palette, which is our character default here. This image here will look stretched, but that's okay. Next, select our intended swap texture, which we will be using character green. Once you have that, you can now move on to the final step. For the final step, select the sprite renderer that you are attempting to apply the material to. Drag your material into the material field. Okay, and that's it. That's all there is to using this shader. I tried to make it as simple to use as possible, so I hope you find it useful in creating your own projects. Thank you for supporting my work and watching the video, and good luck.